The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, interactive. Covering weekly fallout from TNA Impact Wrestling Live as seen on Spike TV. You're listening to Impact Showdown Radio with your host, Lee Sanders.
Our guest tonight has trained alongside WWE superstar CM Punk, worked in promotions such as IWA, Mid-South, All-American Wrestling, Full Impact Pro, WWE, Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins, Resistance Pro, just to name a few for you all. He's been compared to the likes of John Bradshaw Layfield and the Four Horsemen's Barry Windham. He has one of the nastiest finishers called the Boomstick that spells lights out for his opponents. You may have seen a little bit of his work tonight if you were watching TNA Impact Wrestling on Spike TV, as you can catch him every single night on there. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the one and the only Jay Bradley. Jay, how you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing pretty well, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's a real honor to have you on, and I definitely want to say before we dive into it all that I know our listeners, they definitely appreciate you taking the time out to do this, but true story right here, we're actually making a little bit of history tonight as we've been on the air for almost 2 years. We've interviewed many folks, but we've never interviewed someone currently active that's working for a major promotion, so we really thank you tremendously for this opportunity.
Oh, no problem, guys.
All right. And I'm sure fans share the same sentiments when I say it's been tough seeing you in this year's BFG series. We just watched you on tonight's Impact Wrestling in the BFG Gauntlet match where 20 points went to the victor. Of course, you had other motives for going into this, as we found out, which I'm liking this new development here. Even though you didn't win it, I'm just curious, is there a chance maybe you'll just go on ahead and just give everybody a boomstick and, I don't know, maybe just take the daggone spot?
You know what? Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it's going to be that easy. I think the Final Four is now, what is it? It's Aries, Magnus, AJ, and then I think, who was the fourth one? It's eluding me off the top of my head right now. Yeah, I think Bobby Roode's in there, if I remember right.
Bobby Roode, yeah.
Yeah, it is
Bobby Roode, yeah.
You know, if it was that easy, trust me, man, I would be doing it. But unfortunately, there's a lot of allegiances involved in that with the various groups, and it seems like lately in Impact Wrestling, if you don't have a group watching your back, you really don't have much at all, because it seems to be very like gangland style mentality lately with the Mafia, Aces and Eights, and now the three guys forming up on the Ego faction. So, you know, I'm sure the future will hold some very positive things for me there. It's just a matter of time right now.
Mm-hmm. And I want to definitely pick up on that just for a little bit as my next question. I definitely want to know, how has it been for you as far as enjoying your time in TNA Wrestling, as we saw you earlier this year go through the TNA Gut Check competition?
You know what? Like, I have zero complaints whatsoever. They've treated me very well. Probably one of the better experiences I've had here as far as working with the company in this business. You know, I know, unfortunately, the company seems to be taking quite a bit of heat, you know, and if you want to call it, you know, the Internet Wrestling Committee or the community, whatever, you know, they want to call themselves. It's a growing company, and I think that's a very fun thing to be a part of, to just think, okay, this company's been around 10, 11 years. Where are they going to be in 15, 20, 25? It's nice to be able, to look at your bosses, when you're at television or at a live event, whether it's your agents, corporate management, like, your Dixie Carters, your John Gaboric's, and being able to sit down and, like, have professional or personal conversations with them. that's a huge plus. You don't. The locker room is a very, very relaxed locker room in a good way. There doesn't seem to be any, we'll call them any hard asses or anything else like that. Everybody's very well respected, has mutual respect, for one another. So it creates a much more positive atmosphere. So, it's been fun. I use gut check as the way to get in, to kind of crack the door open, and I use the exposure to kick it open for myself. And then now with the BFG series, that this is kind of like step one for me to kind of get me going as far as the main roster goes and on TV on a regular basis. So, unfortunately, for me and a lot of fans, things don't happen overnight. They rarely do in this business, and things change all the time. So, again, it's just a matter of, I think, developing with the company as the company grows. I know I'm going to grow, and my position will grow with it, and more opportunities will be coming my way in the near future. So.
Okay. All right. Right on. Now, I know you and Christian York, you had came through TNA Wrestling earlier this year. York, of course, is someone you've worked with outside of TNA. He, along with several other names in the company, they were released back in January. We've continued to see folks released in TNA. Has it been difficult to see so many people, maybe even those you consider friends perhaps, part ways from the company?
Yeah, I know. There's people that you don't want to see let go, whether it's for a business reason, like maybe you thought you could, have some good matches with them, or had some things you wanted to do with them, or you thought highly of them, or maybe they thought they could have done more with the individual. But that's this business, guys. You get into wrestling, you're going to get fired, or you're going to get let go, whatever term you want to put on it. Released, fired, contract, terminated, whatever. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen more than once. And anybody who's been doing this business for, any length of time on a professional level, at a high level, understands that. It's just part of the game. It always has been, 10, 15, or maybe not 10, but, 15, 20 years ago, a guy got released or let go from the territory. He went to another territory. Fortunately, that's not the case, and there's kind of slim pickings as far as full-time work goes, but, the opportunities are there if you want to dig them up and find them. So, I guess after a while, with my experience with WWE and seeing it happen there, and now that it's happened here, it's just the nature of the beast. It's a business, unfortunately, whether it's a budget thing or it's a TV thing, and that they've only got so many minutes of TV time a week, they can't cram everybody on there. And, why are they paying people to sit at home and not be productive? Or, if you're not making the company any money, you're not helping the company make money, well, then, in business sense, they don't need you. That's, the bottom line in any company or any business. If, you're not producing or you're not doing anything, well, then you're kind of expendable. So, like I said, it's, a bummer moment, but it's also a lesson the people would happen to for, and a lesson the people around. So you just kind of roll with it.
I can only relate to that, like everything that's been going on in the company from like that employer perspective. I'm sure many of our listeners can understand this analogy, but it's like you're at work, you've been there for a while, and you're very good at what you do. One day the boss comes in, says they're going to be making cuts to save money. They're letting some people go as a result. You see some of your colleagues leave one by one, and you can't help but wonder if you'll be next. Again, stuff like that, it happens all the time. I'm curious, what's been the secret for you to continue to remain upbeat and focused and not be so keen on, okay, am I next?
Again, I think it's just being comfortable with the aspect that, hey, this can be gone any minute now. I stressed out a lot about it with WWE when I was under in their system under contract with them, where it was just like, when the cuts start coming, everybody kind of like, starts walking on eggshells and starts worrying. But that's a lot of negativity to carry around on your head and on your shoulders. So, just to, accept that, hey, that's the beast, and it's, it's not the end of the world. When I finished up with them, like, my life went on. I did other things. I came back to wrestling, and, wrestling's still there. It's going to go on without you, and you're going to go on without it. And if it's, there's other opportunities to be had out there, away from, the big companies, if you want to say that. And as far as me personally, I just focus on being, quote unquote, good for business. If I know I'm marketable, I'm talented in the ring, I know I'm well spoken, and I know I can handle, a microphone well, I know I can handle the media well, I have a tremendous upside. So, I just try to focus on that and look how far I've come, in my career, as far as, instead of worrying about what might happen. So that's really it, I mean, you just show up and do your work and, do what you're told or they've asked to do, or what they've asked you to do to the best of your ability. That's, if you can say you did that, then, that's really all you can do. So, the rest is out of your hands.
Right. I know TNA Gut Check's been on a little bit of a hiatus. Looking back on it, would you like to see it return one day or with a couple of tweaks, or it was just fine as it was?
You know what? As far as tweaks or changes go, look, things in this business change daily, whether, fans or realize it or not. Whether it's the matches, the individual companies, the brands, the product. Again, it's the nature of the beast. It's entertainment, so it's going to evolve on a daily basis with, the trends or the situations that come about. I thought from the beginning Gut Check was a great opportunity. You have one of the largest pro wrestling companies in the world with international TV, over, on a regular basis, 1 million and 1.5 million viewers, if not more, here in the United States. Plus, if you're going to throw in the YouTube content guys or viewers, and then all the outlets they have across the world, they're one of the most exposed wrestling companies in the world, and they're giving unsigned talent a chance to be showcased on their TV show all over the world. Mm-hmm. And that's a great opportunity. That's like, a 10-minute commercial. Not only do you get to wrestle, but, they do, most of them, they've had some sort of like video package about their background or their personality and, some microphone time. So they're getting broadcast to the entire wrestling community and fans worldwide. Like, what a great opportunity if you're an unsigned talent out there. I thought it was great. They didn't necessarily, go with, the favorites. But for a lot of them, for the most part, again, it's I don't want to say flavors of ice cream, but it's like, it's kind of a personal preference. So maybe they picked that guy instead of that guy this time, or I wouldn't have chose that guy. But, I don't make those decisions. And the guys that were making the decisions all had tremendous eyes for talent. Bruce Pritchard has been around since the territory days and worked in wrestling offices from, Paul Bosch down in Texas, I think the Houston area, spent 20-some years with WWE, spent some time in TNA. Al Snow's been in wrestling in the business longer than I think I've been alive, and has had a hand training some of the top main event talent in the business right now. So right there, it's like, you're going to find talent. Those guys can see it and find it. And yeah, I'd like to see it return, maybe someday in the future. I don't know. Again, it's not my call. It's going to be like a TV production side of things as far as the company goes. But, maybe that's something they could expand on to, on the syndicated TV too, or even do it as a, something like on their YouTube channel. Because I thought what it was cool is they were taking, like, the scouting process of pro wrestling, like how you get a contract, and they were putting it in front of the fans. Showing what, hey, this is the things that we're looking for in talent. This is, why this guy's here. And, it's conversations that would be happening behind closed doors in an office somewhere. They're putting on national TV and giving you exposure. So I really liked it for that.
Yeah, I know that because I usually have my rounds talking with folks during the week, and I remember looking back on the TNA gut check that there was a lot of folks that kind of had mixed feelings about it, but I thought it was a really great concept, and I mean, it was really one of those great platforms, I thought, in introducing wrestling fans to talent that they probably wouldn't have seen anywhere else, like yourself, Christian York, Adam Pearce, special shout-out to our good buddy Joey Ryan. I think it's been a great outlet to bring in new pieces of talent that you wouldn't normally see. So, yeah, I think it'd be awesome to bring it back. You had trained with CM Punk up at the Steel Domain Wrestling School in Chicago early in your career. I'm curious, do you still keep in touch with him?
Unfortunately, no. For whatever reasons, we've kind of just drifted apart. Obviously he's kind of on top of the wrestling world right now. The last time I kind of talked to him was at a real brief conversation, probably almost a year ago now, at a benefit that he attended for a mutual friend that had passed due to cancer. We trained together. We were in WWE for a little bit together. He was in OVW, and then I was in Deep South, and then I moved to OVW, and he was in and out of there while he was on the ECW brand. So, yeah, it's been a little bit of a while since we really, had a sit-down talk or anything like that.
Okay. This question came in from one of our Twitter users, Trey from Savannah. He wants to know if you could compare working with TNA to OVW.
I mean, it's all wrestling, man. Aside from the pomp and circumstance of the big production of you get the TNA on TV, OVW is run like a hybrid school/wrestling territory. And I'm a strong advocate of OVW school. They teach you, if you want to call it the old school, but they teach you how to handle yourself in the ring and handle business as a professional wrestler as it was done back in the territory days. So that way you understand how to handle yourself and conduct business when you go somewhere, to make a career out of this. OVW's budget is, probably, a fraction of what TNA's is. But, like, again, it's all done in the essence of it's a school, so it's okay to mess up, to screw up, because you're here to learn. Where if you go to, like, if you're on TV for TNA, they expect you to be on the ball. They don't want you slipping up there. There's too much money on the line. There's too much of an investment in the television time. Well, on OVW, it's okay to kind of drop the ball because, you learn and then everybody else around you learns from that experience. So that's the biggest difference. Also in OVW, you get a little bit more, maybe leeway to kind of try things out and do your own thing. And Danny Davis and Al Snow down there and Frank Miller, who is Trailer Park Trash, the three guys that kind of run OVW in certain aspects, are very, nurturing and also to an extent hands-off, where they want you to come up with your ideas. They want you to come up with your promos, your interviews, and, your ideas for your matches, so that you learn. And you learn what works for you and what doesn't. Where at TNA, maybe, they wanted a little bit more control because they want to control what kind of television product they're putting out.
Okay. This one comes from longtime TNA fan Robert. Special shout out to you, buddy. I know he's checking out the show right now. He wants to know if you might be open to the idea of working in Japan. Of course, we're hearing those tidbits that TNA is working with Great Muda's promotion, W1, to possibly maybe do some type of talent exchange. Would you be open to doing some work in Japan?
Yeah, I was in Japan about a year ago for Inoki's new company for about a week. I've actually been in contact with a couple other companies in the last couple of weeks about just doing, some short stays over there between my Impact schedule with TNA Television and my commitments to them, because I'm free to take outside bookings with the company's approval. If I was asked, I would definitely jump at it. I really, really enjoyed my time in Japan. I've always been a fan of a lot of the American wrestlers that, made their career over there, like the Stan Hansons and the Terry Gordy's type of guys. So, yeah, I'd definitely jump at it.
All right, awesome. I know we have some ECW fans out there, and this was definitely a question that was asked to me probably all week long leading into this interview tonight. As I know there's also those of you all listening that may not be familiar with this promotion, but there's a promotion that was running around called Extreme Rising. And, Jay, I know some of the fans, they might remember your work from there briefly. I know they had something go down earlier this year where they were trying to do some events during the WrestleMania weekend, but things didn't fall through, and things have been a little bit ice cold from the promotion since. Is there any new developments that you might be able to share with those that may be familiar with your work from that promotion, as far as if you've been in talk with Shane Douglas about anything that they might be looking into doing this year?
You know what? No, I haven't. I did a couple shows for them late last year. They treated me really well. I really enjoyed it. They had some really good events as far as, probably one of the only indie companies in the last couple of years that have drawn, a couple thousand fans on average. And unfortunately, when I got signed by TNA, it was a mutual thing that they bumped me off of their WrestleMania weekend shows that were supposed to happen due to the fact that they couldn't put me on their DVD any longer due to my contract. It was a mutual thing. It was I wanted to honor the dates, and they just, it was kind of a thing like, hey, we can't use you anymore because we can't market you and use your likeness the way they wanted to. No, I haven't heard anything from those guys, anything at all.
Would you definitely be open to working with them on a regular basis if the opportunity came?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Great promotion. I really, that was a great freaking promotion. I can't stress this enough for anybody that may have not seen any of their iPay-per-views. You can actually order some of it now from their website. It was some good stuff, and I know you had actually ended up taking on Christian York at one of those iPay-per-views, correct?
Yeah, I think that was the first event I did for them. First
one, yeah. All right, for this special occasion, we got something new that we're doing. You're our first guest to do this. We've got a new segment that we're calling Lay It Down. It's inspired by when we had Jennifer Gottlieb from VH1's That Metal Show come by, and their segment that they have on there, I think they call it Put It on the Table, which sounds very perverted when you think about it. We've got a series of one-off questions, very brief, non-wrestling related, as it kind of gives folks a little bit of an opportunity to get a piece of your personality. You ready?
Sure.
All right. First question for you. What's the last good and bad movie you saw in theaters?
One recent good one I think would be Man of Steel. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a pretty well done take on Superman, and I'm not a Superman fan at all, but I really dug that movie. Last bad one. You know, I couldn't even name a bad one off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, that Man of Steel was awesome. I don't know if you watch Breaking Bad, but I'm hoping that they can get Bryan Cranston as Lex Luthor. I think he'd nail it. What artists are you currently listening to?
Oh, geez. Let's see what's going on my iPod right now. I've got some the new Seven Dust, the new 30 Seconds to Mars, the new Five Finger Death Punch is on there. What else? I think I've got the new POD that was going on earlier, and then I've got the whole fallbacks of Rise Against and some Smashing Pumpkins that I've been listening to lately.
All right, good stuff, good stuff. All right, you're in a bar getting your drink on, enjoying the music, when you notice three beautiful women by the names of Scarlett Johansson, Beyonce, Lady Gaga sitting nearby. Which one would you walk up to for a dance?
I am a ScarJo fan, so I would definitely go with Scarlett Johansson.
Awesome, awesome. Favorite TV show? Can be an original series on the web.
You know, I really don't watch too much TV, to be honest with you, but the two I'm getting pretty, I do actually are getting ready to kick back up, and that's Sons of Anarchy and The Walking Dead.
Good picks. Damn good picks. Last good book you read?
You know what? I read a lot of various things. Right now, lately, I've been doing a lot of graphic novels, and I've been on a Batman kick. I just finished up the No Man's Land run and from the 90s, and then I just finished piecing together nearly all of Grant Morrison's run on Batman, so I'm going to start getting into that because I heard that was really well written.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there's some great stuff. I won't spoil it for you. Yeah, definitely some good stuff. Last good video game you played. I saw that tweet you put out earlier talking about Xbox.
Oh, yeah, I'm actually in the middle of playing Saints Row 4 right now. I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Have you played that series enough, or was it your first time picking that one up?
No, I've played the series, I think, all the way through now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think the first one was on the original Xbox, and then I ended up getting the second one, I think, when we visited THQ out west when I was with WWE. And then, yeah, I've been a fan for it. It's a lot of fun. It's just, they just parody like pop culture in so many different ways, and it's just so over the top with the silliness and the things you can do. You just can't help but laugh and enjoy it.
Is it true that with this installment, it's like a complete departure from the other ones?
No, I wouldn't say it's a total departure. I mean, they stretched it, but it's still like, it's still the characters, it's still the open world gameplay, but it's kind of fun because you have to achieve, like, you're in somewhat of like a Matrix-like realm, and you have to achieve like these crazy superpowers. So, like, I was telling one of the developers when I talked to him about the game, it was like you guys made like this crazy superhero game that wasn't supposed to be a superhero game, but it's still a lot of fun.
Okay. One last question for you, and this came in from Trey. He wanted to call in, but he's having connection problems. He wanted to know,
how did you come up with the name Boomstick for your finisher?
Where I actually came up with it was when my first time in OVW, like 2007. You know, I've always used a big clothesline, and I always used it as, like, just call it the lariat as a finish or whatever. And I can't remember where we were. It was a live event for OVW, but I came in and I gave like a handful of people, like I cleared the ring out with a bunch of clotheslines, and there was a couple little kids at the show, and they were doing the clothesline motion and just going boom, boom, boom. And I just thought that then Big Sal from ECW was at OVW at the time, and he is a huge pop culture fan and a huge Evil Dead fan, Army of Darkness fan, and that's how the Boomstick was developed. So I thought that name came about that way, and it just kind of stuck. It worked.
That is awesome. That's awesome. All right. Hey, let the good folks know about any upcoming appearances that you're going to be making and how they can keep up to date with what you're up to.
You know what? The schedule right now is don't have anything set other than some OVW this month for September and Impact Wrestling. I think Impact's in St. Louis next Thursday for the No Surrender event. And then we're working up to Bound for Glory out in San Diego on the 20th of October. If you want to check out any of my appearances at OVW, or you can watch OVW TV at their website, which is simply ovwrestling.com, and there's a list of live events, and I'm always at the televised events, and I do make a lot of their live events here too as well. You can hit me up on Twitter. I'm at JAYBRDLEYPW, so JAYBRADLEYPW for pro wrestling. And the Facebook page is the same. It's just facebook.com/JAYBRADLEYPW. Also, TNA has allowed me to, again, start taking more outside bookings, through independent appearances for matches, seminars, conventions, anything like that. So if anybody wants me, I bring the Boomstick with me. So if I'm there, that's coming with, I'll bring it to the town and start smacking people around. You can hit me up at JBradleyPW, just like Twitter, but at gmail.com.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Jay, look, I always tell our guests, and we sincerely mean this when we say it, anytime you want to come back to the show, you're more than welcome. Definitely stay in contact with us and let us know what you're up to. If you ever want to come on by, just shoot the hay, talk about something random, you're more than welcome. We'd love to have you come on back.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, Jay, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of the night, and we look forward to seeing you each Thursday night on TNA Impact Wrestling on Spike TV.
All right, take care, man. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Bye.